a film based on the biggest misconception regarding the name of the monster in the story begins at 1857 in the far north. A research expedition got stuck in the ice here. Despite the fatigue of the crew, Captain Anderson firmly determined to get to the North Pole, no matter how many subordinates. No one died. As soon as it gets dark, the sailors notice a fire nearby. Going out to investigate, they find a dog buckle, blood-stained snow, and a wounded man, and nearby, the roar of some monster is heard. When a mysterious silhouette approaches, they open fire, but the bullets don't stop the creature. Having survived the second salvo, it goes into hand-to-hand combat, throwing sailors around like children's toys. The monster demands that the wounded man be given to him. The first mate takes out a new powerful gun, with which manages to throw the creature overboard, but even this is his. Doesn't kill. When the sailors have removed the ladder, the monster single-handedly overturns ship, this energy for peaceful purposes. Without being confused, the captain shoots at the ice under his feet. When it cracks, the monster plunges into the cold waters of the Arctic Ocean. But the man saved from persecution is sure that the creature will come back and kill everyone if necessary because it can't die. Such a universal bug. The wounded man asks to give him to the monster to save him. The rest of the crew. A man says his name is Victor Frankenstein, and that he created this unkillable creature. The story flashes back in time to when young Victor lived with his parents. The father was a baron, a surgeon, and a powerful man, and mother of a wealthy heiress of a once noble family, subordinate to my husband entirely. The young man diligently studied the science of medicine under the strict supervision. Patriarch. However, my father's extensive experience in healing turned out to be useless when his wife, Victor's mother, began giving birth to their second child. The birth was accompanied by complications from which the woman died. Only the baby was saved. Of course, for the boy her death became terrible. In addition, the father switched to William, the youngest son, which became his favorite. Accused of failing to save his wife despite with all his knowledge, young Victor vows to defeat the very. While Victor is telling his story to the captain, the brainchild breaks the age-old ice and gets out of the water, captivity, and wanders towards a ship. Soon the father passed away, leaving his sons orphans. After this, Victor goes to King's College to study medicine to fulfill his oath. He presents his project to the Educational Council, Resurrection. Dead tissue using an electrical charge. To demonstrate, he uses a RoboCop prototype, parts, fresh dead, sewn together. Victor manages to make the sample move under exposure to current. Retrograde pundits take work for some kind of a hoax worthy of an unscientific institution, a nomadic fairs, and he is fired. Victor meets Heinrich Hollander, Nisa. Henry Elizabeth is going to marry William, brother Victor, and the man himself is interested in the scientific work of a physician, in particular, chips with reviving the dead. While visiting a new friend, Victor learns that Heinrich made a fortune from the arms trade. The host shows the guest a copy of the human lymphatic system that complements the cardiovascular system. This may help in further research. Heinrich invites Victor to sponsor his research, to theoretically defeat death and achieve eternal. The conversation is interrupted by a visit from William and Elizabeth. While meeting his brother's fiancée, Victor notices that she, very similar to their deceased mother. In the north, Victor is forced to interrupt his story, coughing. Reports to the captain what the sailors saw in the fog. Surviving monster. Anxiety levels rise among the crew. They want to leave Frankenstein overboard, but the captain abruptly. Henry provided it to Victor for his experiments. Separate building. While examining it, Frankenstein plans what else will be needed. Then he collects working material from the convicts for the execution of criminals, inspects them before the scaffold to pick up fresh corpses, without leaving the cash register. While doing necro shopping, the scientist meets at the bazaar. They go to a restaurant where they discuss literature. The girl prefers biology textbooks. In the future, the man leaves his brother to supervise the production. Instruments for the laboratory, and he and his bride butterflies. The doctor himself has made no progress in further research. Soon Heinrich directly hints to Victor that he has. His patience is running out. The result is needed within a week. While the scientist is busy with work, Elizabeth visits him. Admire the dissected corpse and declare that between them, Nothing can happen because she was given to someone else and will be forever faithful to him. While going through an Archimedean-style breakup in the bath, Victor has an epiphany about mirror symmetry. He rearranges the current conducting needles, changing polarity, and the corpse begins to move. Rejoicing at his success, the scientist goes with Henry to the battlefield to harvest a bloody harvest of fresh dead. Transporting them to the laboratory, Victor begins to cut bodies into pieces, assembling from this creepy construction set. Lego's own creation. Work is in full swing at a Stakhanov pace and unnecessary scraps. The doctor throws it directly into the ocean through a special gutter in the basement. When everything is ready, Victor connects it to the one sewn from different pieces. Body is a galvanic element. But nothing happens. The battery power is not enough. When lightning flashes outside the window, the scientist decides to use her discharge for the resuscitation of a composite deceased. Trying to tell Heinrich about this idea, the doctor finds out that his patron was dying of syphilis. He doesn't have much time left. Henry wants Victor to resurrect him with his knowledge, but he refuses. Clinical trials as opposed to clinical trials. Idiots are necessary. After waiting for bad weather, Frankenstein climbs to the very top towers to install a silver lightning rod for transmission of natural electricity. We goes down to the attic, set up the transmitters. Energy, Heinrich appears. He convinces Victor to revive him, but he is not swayed. The sponsor's organs are already affected by the disease. Blackmailing the scientist, Heinrich threatens to break one of the silver tips, but he himself falls with him into a technical shaft and crashes. Despite the damage to the tip, Victor decides use it. He activates the lightning rod, aiming the transmitter at patchwork creature prepared for experiment. Lightning energy powers Victor's units. After why he checks the condition of the deceased. Alas, things didn't get better for him. Out of disappointment, the doctor goes to sleep. The night was spent in vain. Only the patron was wasted. Waking up, he sees his brainchild near the bed, an animated corpse. He repeats all the movements after him, as if unreasonable. Victor has to teach the creature the simplest things: walking, sitting, talking. The scientist takes him to the basement, where he chains him, so that the prototype does not escape. When the creature grows hair, the doctor has to shave it. In the process, the living dead man grabs a razor, cutting. However, in a matter of minutes the wound healed, showing amazing regeneration abilities. Victor is annoyed by the fact that the creature does not speak, nothing but his name. The scientist's privacy is disturbed by guests. Brother from the bride, looking for his missing uncle. Having lied that Heinrich left, excited by success, Victor leads his brother to the laboratory. Elizabeth, hearing the creature's voice, goes down to the basement, where he finds a prototype chained under it and installs contact with him. William tells his brother that the scientific community wants to return him, but he doesn't care now. When Elizabeth gets up and wonders who's in the basement, the scientist says that his experiment was a success and shows the creature in person. However, the question of whether the resurrected person has intelligence is still open. Will he watch TikTok, or does he have intelligence? While the men are busy with important issues, Elizabeth communicates with a model, teaching him to pronounce his name. Victor doesn't like her interest in the creature. His resurrection was both a triumph and a disappointment. The scientist is sad that the resurrected one does not shine with intellect, unlike on vitality and physical strength. Disappointed with the conversation with the girl, he goes to the basement, where through beatings he tries to awaken reason in a creature, but instead enrages him. Frightened, Victor leaves. In the morning, he admits to his brother that he was mistaken in resurrecting the creature. He says that the monster killed Henry. This is a reason to send William and his bride away, under the pretext of safety. The doctor himself spills flammable liquid in the laboratory to burn everything down. He is also ready to burn the monster in the basement if he doesn't learn at least one new word. But when he calls Elizabeth's name, Victor is in a fit of jealousy, decides to start a fire anyway. Throwing the match, Frankenstein goes outside. The flame slowly spreads over the spilled fuel, surrounding a frightened creature calling out to its creator. Having thought better of it, he runs back, but the containers with liquid explode, throwing the scientist and injuring his leg. This is how returning guests find him. They watch as the laboratory building collapses, burying a miracle of science. A creature bursts into the captain's cabin, interrupting Victor. Having learned that the creator was telling stories about him, the monster who learned to speak decided to tell Anderson his story. During the fire, the creature showed remarkable physical strength to break the shackles and escape through the tunnel, where the unusable parts of the dead were thrown away. You could say it's a family tradition. When the building collapses, he is in the coastal waters, where he goes to the bottom. When the surf washed the creature ashore, he comes to his senses and wanders into the unknown of a brave new world, unusual after behind the walls. Having found human remains in the forest, the monster loots a cloak to dress himself up. After stumbling upon deer, he learns to eat the berries as gunshots ring out. The hunters, mistaking the creature for game that needs to be rubbed, wound it. The creature escapes. His wounds heal quickly, and he himself gets to the old farm, inside of which he hides. In the morning, the owners return, among whom are hunters who mistook him for a bear yesterday. Hiding in the barn, the creature watches as the girl takes care of her blind grandfather, and he teaches her to read and write. This is how the monster slowly learns the language. Having become attached to this family, he quietly helps them, collecting brushwood and repairing the fence. In response, the farmer leaves him an offering, like a spirit at the forest. However, when wolves attack the farm to steal the sheep, the creature sees how the head of the family shoots them. He understands that some living beings are hated simply because of who they are. After this, the peasants leave for the winter, leaving only the stubborn old man. He doesn't want to leave the house. Taking advantage of the moment, the creature enters the house to reveal the pre-blind eyes of an old man. Although he has not yet really learned to speak, he and the old man manage to establish communication. The elder, recognizing the spirit of the forest hiding in the barn, invites him to stay and live. At the same time, he teaches him to read. Fortunately, for some reason there were plenty of books in the farm hut. Having improved communication skills and literature, the creature begins to wonder who he is. To resolve his existential crisis, he returns to the ruins of Frankenstein's laboratory, hoping to find answers there. Having found the scientist's notes, the monster realized that he was different from a person. This thought caused him suffering. Having found a letter with the address of its creator, Victor, he decides to visit him to understand why he created him. Upon returning to the farm, the creature receives more bad news. The wolves killed his only friend. As they say, no matter how much you feed the wolf, he wants to devour the blind old man. Predators attack monsters, but thanks to strength and vitality, he manages to send the forest orderlies to the morgue, some with particular cruelty. Returning to the dying old man, the creature says that he has learned the truth about himself. He is Frankenstein's man-made monster. At this moment, the old man's relatives appear. Deciding that the monster has killed him, they attack him. The monster kills one in self-defense, and then leaves the house. The hunters pursue him, shooting from afar until the target passes out. Waking up at night with healed wounds, the creature decides to visit its creator. Victor, having lost his leg in a fire, is preparing for his brother's wedding when he notices his creation in the chambers. The monster wants the scientist to create a bride for him, to have someone to while away immortal eternity with. Victor refuses. This is an idea for a sequel. Having not received love, the monster gives vent to hatred, throwing its creator. Elizabeth comes to the noise, who manages to calm down the monster who recognizes her. But Victor, flashing a pistol, hits her, and when the groom appears with the guests, he accuses the creature of attack. During the ensuing fight, William hits his head. Having scattered the attackers, the monster, wounded, leaves Elizabeth through the column of guests, while her fiancé dies in his brother's arms, who calls him a monster for everything he has done. The creature takes Elizabeth to a cave, where he comforts her as she fades away. Victor with a gun follows them along the bloody trail, but the creature easily disarms him and wounds him so that he bleeds. Having promised to turn the creator's life into hell, the creature leaves. The scientist rushes after him with a gun, and so begins a chase that leads them into the polar ice. At sunset, a monster attacks Victor's camp, burning the tent and cutting the scientist in the eternal snow so that he would bleed. He then suggests that he light dynamite in hopes that it will kill him, but if not, the creature will return for the creator. Again, as practice has shown, the explosives did not work. The story returns to the cabin. The dying Victor, having learned the creature's history, asks for his forgiveness. And he forgives the creator before he died. The captain then leads the monster outside, telling his men to let him through. Having left the ship, the creature uses superhuman force to push it out of the ice trap and into the sea. Deciding that they've had enough adventures, the captain orders them to head home. Frankenstein's monster goes through the white silence into a new dawn, finding peace of mind. This is where the film ends.